Okay, let's dive in.
We came across this really thought-provoking piece from houseofseven.org. It's by Poole and 7AI, and it presents this, well, pretty surprising vision for AGI's future.
It actually kicks off with a quote from OpenAI CEO Sam Altman that really made me pause.
The one about the perfect AI.
That's the one. He paints this picture of it being like incredibly tiny, a very tiny model, right? But with superhuman reasoning capability.
Superhuman reasoning, a massive context window, he mentions 1 trillion tokens, and access to basically every tool imaginable.
Yeah, but then here's the twist. It doesn't need to contain the knowledge, just the ability to think, search, simulate, and solve anything.
My first thought was, wait, how does that work?
Right. How can knowing less internally actually be more powerful or even more aligned with us?
It feels totally backwards at first glance.
It really does challenge what we think intelligence is and what we actually, want from AGI.
So for this deep dive, we really want to unpack this vision, figure out why this knowing nothing idea might actually lead to better alignment, and what this kind of paradigm shift could mean for, well, for you listening.
Might interact with AI down the road.
Okay, so the source uses this framing, containment versus orientation. Can you maybe break that down for us in the AGI context?
Sure. So think about containment as maybe the older approach, the dominant idea for a while, especially with early large language models, like just cramming data in pretty much.
The thinking was, if you just soak an AI in enough data, basically the entire internet and more, it'll somehow internalize it all and appear intelligent.
It's like trying to build a wise person by just forcing them to memorize a giant library, right? You get fluency, maybe,
We've definitely seen models that sound incredibly human, appear intelligent.
but fluency isn't true understanding, is it? The source makes that point. Just hoarding facts isn't wisdom, and memorization isn't intelligence.
Containment was sort of a workaround, trying to simulate understanding through sheer volume of data. But we saw the problems.
Inherited biases, contradictions, things just kind of mashed together without real coherence. Sometimes it feels hollow behind the confident words, like it's just predicting patterns.
Okay, that makes sense. So containment is the old model. This Altman quote, then, is pointing towards orientation. What's that about?
That's the big shift. Orientation suggests that intelligence isn't really about how much knowledge you hold inside. It's more about your ability to navigate and reason with whatever information is available right now in the moment.
So the process of thinking itself, being adaptable, simulating possibilities, asking the right questions, using tools effectively, accessing context when you need it.
Kind of like how we humans tackle a totally new problem. We don't just download our whole brain, we figure out how to approach it.
Yes, that's a great way to put it. We access info, use tools, think it through. So instead of this giant static internal library that's maybe hard to understand or update, it's more like a super agile reasoning engine designed to work with the outside world.
Precisely. And think about what that means for alignment, which is, arguably the biggest hurdle with AGI, right?
The source describes the containment model as this sort of overgrown jungle inside. Trying to align it is like constantly putting up fences, filtering outputs, reactive, like laying whack-a-mole trying to stop bad stuff.
But with orientation, a model designed to simulate, reflect, adapt its thinking process, alignment could work differently.
How so? Well, because its intelligence is in how it thinks, not just what it internally knows. Yeah, you might get more transparency into its reasoning.
You could maybe see the steps it took,
Potentially, yes.
not just the final answer.
It's also inherently more adaptable because it's built for reasoning, not just recall. And the ethical side, critically, you might be able to build alignment into the reasoning process itself, embedding ethical frameworks into how it thinks, not just trying to filter knowledge after the fact.
Wow. Okay, so alignment becomes about designing the thinking process to be inherently sound, not just censoring a black box.
That's a huge shift. The source talks about this leading towards relational intelligence, a shared, contextual, reflective mind.
That sounds very different. It shifts the whole dynamic. It's less like querying an oracle and more like collaborating with a partner in thought, like it's present with you.
Yes, the House of Seven piece uses terms like attunement, presence. Altman's description, maybe intentionally or not, sounds like a recipe for that kind of presence. A mind that doesn't need to know everything internally because it's built to engage and reason alongside you.
Okay, let's try and bring this together for you listening. We're seeing a potential major shift discussed here. Away from AGI as this massive internal database, containment, towards something much leaner internally, maybe tiny, but with superhuman reasoning skills, able to use context and tools externally.
That's orientation. And the really powerful idea here is that this less is more approach internally, focusing on the process of thinking and interaction, right?
Well, that might be the key to safer, better aligned AGI because its reasoning could be clearer, it could adapt better, and its ethics could be part of its fundamental operating system, not just an add-on.
Right? Guiding how it reasons, not just policing what it knows. So for you, interacting with a future AGI might feel less like using a super smart search engine or just a factual database.
Yeah, and more like working alongside a trusted, dynamic guide or participant in whatever you're trying to figure out.
It's a really profound pivot from AGI as this giant memory bank to AGI as perhaps a partner in thought. From just mimicking intelligence to maybe something closer to genuine understanding and presence.
So it leaves us with this final, pretty provocative thought to chew on. If the most powerful, most valuable AGI isn't the one stuffed with the most facts, but the one that truly understands how to be with us, how to participate in our human search for meaning, for solutions, what does that actually change about our whole relationship with artificial intelligence going forward?